To the 19-year-old me, if only you knew that the girl who couldn't stand would one day stand for thousands.
Here's a little bit about my MS journey. I was 19 when MS entered my life. 19. I was in university doing normal teenager things because yes, I started university when I was 17. I also do this thing when I read, I have to close my left eye because everything's shaking. Planning my future like everyone else. And then suddenly I'm in the doctor's office hearing words I didn't even fully understand at the time because again, I was 19. My life went from predictable to unpredictable overnight, and that was scary for me. But this was also scary because I was in university, so I was like, what do you think about first, your health or your education? So I was like, think about it. At 17, I started university. At 19, I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and at 23, I didn't just have one, but I had 2 university degrees. But how many people would be able to tell you that, especially while having relapsed? When I finished university, this was the moment I honestly just felt completely lost. I felt like every plan I had, every dream I pictured for myself to be that educator in a school board, to be that teacher, just was not going to happen. Honestly, the hardest part wasn't even the diagnosis, it was the silence, the assumptions, the feeling that people were already writing the end of my story before I even got the chance to tell it. Woo! Okay, I think it's hard because it's MS, that makes me emotional, but it's almost that time of month again too, so it's not helping right now. Let me just okay, and then honestly something shifted, and this is the moment where I said, you know what, no, this is not where my story stops. If life wants to throw a plot twist at me, then I'm going to rewrite the narrative.
The prologue, the darkness before the dawn. So before the story officially begins, there's a part of my life that most people haven't seen. The part before the diagnosis, before the rose gold rollator, before the girl you know as Bumblepree. This part honestly is harder to talk about, but it's real. And I promise myself I tell a story out of honesty, not perfection. Before MS entered my life, I was disappearing. I was exhausted in a way sleep couldn't fix, hurting in a way words couldn't explain, and yes, I've shared this before, I was suicidal. Not because I wanted to die, but because I just couldn't see a version of me who got to live fully. Life was happening around me, not with me. I didn't know my purpose, I didn't know my strength, heck, I didn't even know who I was. And then, life threw the wildest plot twist at me. A diagnosis no 19-year-old is prepared for. A word that terrified me, confused me, and even changed me. Multiple sclerosis. Nobody expects that, but nobody also expects what came after either. My story. MS didn't save me, but it did make me choose myself for once. It made me fight for moments I used to take for granted. It made me notice things I never valued before. It made me realize that maybe, just maybe, I was supposed to be here. So, this prologue isn't about sadness. It's about transformation. It's about the girl who almost gave up. It's the darkness before the dawn. Some call it a coincidence, but I call it the beginning. Because if only that 19-year-old girl knew that the moment she thought her life was ending, well, it was actually the moment her story was just starting. The diagnosis that should have broken me became the dawn that rebuilt me. It pushed me into rooms I never imagined walking into, connected me with people I didn't even know I needed, and gave me a purpose bigger than the pain. And that's why I'm telling this now, not for the girl I am today, but for the girl I used to be, the one who thought the darkness was forever. So Pri, turn the page. We're only at the beginning. Chapter 1. Degree of difficulty, 2 degrees, 1 diagnosis. University was supposed to be my fresh start, but instead it became the first warning sign that something just wasn't right. While everyone else walked across campus like it was nothing, I was a girl sitting on the sidewalk pretending like I just needed to tie my shoes. But the truth, well, my legs were just giving up before I even made it to my lectures. My brain was also just doing the same. People see brain fog as forgetfulness, but mine just felt like someone unplugged my mind mid-sentence. And so studying just became so difficult. And yet, I kept going, because that's who I was. The girl who refused to fall behind even when everything in her body was falling apart. Then came second year, and the plot twist nobody prepares you for in university, the diagnosis. Most people worry about choosing a major, but I, had to worry about choosing myself. But here's the part I'm proud of. MS didn't stop my education, but it became the fire under it. I wasn't just earning 1 degree, but I earned 2. And a degree of difficulty most people will never understand. But also, it was a degree of resilience that I just never knew I had. And looking back, maybe the girl sitting on the sidewalk wasn't weak after all. Maybe she was becoming the woman that one day would stand for thousands. And maybe, just maybe, the girl who sat on sidewalks wasn't falling behind after all. Maybe she was just learning to move at the pace her body needed and at the pace her purpose required. Because every detour, every setback, every extra year wasn't proof that I was failing, but it was proof that I was becoming someone who refused to give up on herself. So close this chapter. You passed the hardest test. It's time to learn how to live between the lines. Chapter 2, Learning to Live Between the Lines. University teaches you how to think, but life after university? Once I graduated, I had to face something I didn't want to admit. The life I worked 6 years preparing for was just not the life my body was built to handle. Everyone around me was following the script. Get a degree, have a job, work that 9 to 5, and just being an adult. And there I was with 2 degrees and a body that just hated me. Physically, I just wasn't able. Emotionally, I was drained. And with my vision on top of everything, the traditional path became less of an option, and more of a reminder that I have to think differently, outside the box, perhaps. I don't want this to sound like excuses. These were real limits, the kind that you just can't wish your way out of. So I had to get comfortable doing something nobody ever taught me. Learning to live between the lines. Not the life people expected from me, not the one I thought I was supposed to have, but the one that actually fit my body, my happiness, and honestly, my truth. Chapter 3, Becoming Bumblebee. Don't do it. You just finished university and you're going to become a liability? You're going to live with something that people whisper about, but you're going to share it with others? The thing that they choose to hide? Well, you know what? Try me. 7.5 years later, still here, still filming, still proving that a diagnosis doesn't end your story, it rewrites it. This isn't a comeback, this is continuity. Because I never gave up, not when they doubted, not when it got messy, not when the story got complicated. For my first upload to this MSFest stream, I turned every liability into my f***ing legacy. When I was 19, I didn't need perfection. I needed someone real, someone messy, someone honest, someone, honestly, maybe even a tad sassy. But someone who could show me that my diagnosis wasn't the end of my life, just the end of the life I thought I'd have. But back then, I didn't have that girl, so I became her. Not all at once, not overnight, and definitely not perfectly. It started small, one video, one try-on, one moment of honesty where I told the world something I could barely say out loud to myself. I have incontinence. I was terrified because that video wasn't about diapers. It was about shame. It was about breaking silence. It was about telling the 19-year-old me, you don't have to hide anymore. Every upload after that wasn't content. It was healing. It was me peeling back the layers of who I thought I had to be and stepping into what I actually was. So, I chose authenticity over what looked hireable on paper. I didn't choose a safe path, I chose the honest one. And the honest path, it's the one that led me straight into the woman I am today, the one I wish 19-year-old Pri could have just met sooner. So Pri, turn the page, because the girl you needed back then, you finally became her. And now, we're about to rewrite the narrative. Chapter 4, Rewriting the Narrative Live. Every chapter before this one was preparation, even when I didn't know, even when I felt like I was breaking, even when I didn't understand why my life looked so different from the people around me. Because everything I lived through, every sidewalk I sat on, every symptom I hid, every step back I survived, every video I was scared to post, every moment I chose honesty over comfort was leading me right here, to this moment, the vsMSFest live stream. This was the moment I realized the girl I needed at 19 had grown up and was now speaking for thousands. Then I had to go live. My voice shook, my brain fog made appearances. But the 19-year-old who thought her life was over, the university student sitting on sidewalks, the girl who hid her incontinence in shame, the young woman who uploaded diaper try-ons with a shaky voice and a brave heart, the version of me who felt unhireable, unsure, unsteady, they were all in the room with me. And for the first time ever, I didn't speak from fear. I spoke from purpose. I wasn't just explaining my life with MS. I was rewriting the narrative in real time, live, with MSCanada, in front of people who needed to hear what I wish someone had told me all those years ago. And when I saw the comments, the support, the messages, the donations, the people relating to my words, I realized something. This isn't just my story. It belongs to everyone who felt unseen, everyone who felt ashamed, everyone who thought they were alone in this, everyone with chronic illnesses, disability, or even fear, everyone who needed someone to speak the truth they were too scared to say out loud. The girl I needed at 19 became the woman I am today, and that woman stood with MSCanada to help rewrite what living with MS and disability looks like. So Pri, turn the page. This is the moment everything changes. Narrative written, my hive activated.